start the meeting, the Urban Forestry Committee meeting for May 16th. We'll start with a roll call and we will start.
Jeanette, present.
Joe Scott, Carol Hannah.
Carrie Dodd.
Okay, long.
Okay, we are all here. Yay. So the first thing we need to do is approve the minutes from April. Has had a chance to look at them or want to glance through them. Wants to make a motion to approve them, or if you have any corrections or changes.
Come up. No service.
Being more difficult, yeah, but Tuesday night's meeting, Hannah indicated that they didn't have the issues, but last week at one of our meetings, they were struggling. Not
It just
popping that.
says no service.
Seeing the. Manuals.
So I don't know.
Where? Well, I think she could-
I not even know.
I know.
Oh, there, okay.
Touched it there.
I didn't press what you pressed. I watched you.
That's what I usually do, and then it's not doing it.
So, yeah.
Oh,
press
so
on
you
that
have to
then.
say
Okay,
something there.
okay.
Thank you
There
very
you go.
much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else having issues?
There.
That said, finish setting up, and I said no thanks, and then it took me to the document, but I
Yeah.
don't see the minutes.
Um,
It's probably me blind and bad. Okay. there
It
was the
might
top.
have been.
Sure looks fine. Just go back.
I just
Oh,
At the
it's
top, I-
historic preservation.
I- searched in the drive and I just put minutes. And then it came right up at the top
I
of it.
think they might have been just left with, on HBC, some of those.
Okay, I got
You got it.
it. Okay, yeah, okay. Ooh. So that was just Joe and Gary.
I'll make a motion to accept minutes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we've got some old business, couple of things just to review briefly, and so I'll let Denise go ahead and get that started.
So yeah, we have a few items here, but we'll just do some really quick recaps. And then we'll just reserve the rest of the evening to kind of talk about the Tree Campus program. But we do have some pictures from last week's town council meeting. We were able to honor and recognize Nora Bishop. Nora Bishop was the fifth grade student that won that placed second place in the statewide competition there for the Arbor Day poster contest. It was a great way to start our town council meeting. She had several members of her family. I think both grandparents are here, parents, like a sibling and a friend that came with her that evening. There was some conflicts with the school, they had an open house of some sort there at the elementary that evening, and then Nora even and other students had band and choir concerts that started at 7. So she was the only one that attended, but it gave us the opportunity to be able to just praise on her and recognize her for her great efforts and talent. I had met with Rachel from the Indiana DNR the week prior, and so we was able to pick up the gifts, the awards for Nora and the school. So Nora was awarded with the certificate from Indiana DNR. Here's her certificate that she received. And then she also received a eyewitness tree book, which was really a neat book. So she was able to take that home with her. And then Kim Collier, she's also there present here in the lower picture. Kim Collier received the packet that was donated by Indiana Tree Farm. That packet was some educational tree lesson book that was given, so they could use that for here on out for others, for the fifth grade classes to come. And then there was also art supplies in there as well. And then some wooden tree log cuts were there just to be able to see, what the tree bark and rings look like. So that was really neat. So we had a great time honoring them. And that's about it. That wraps up the Arbor Day poster contest. I know that her poster was entered into the Pendleton Art Society mural contest. And I don't know where that is. I think that they were accepting some entries. Dr. Lau, you may.
I have no idea what
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
I'm not on the committee.
Oh, okay, you were just there that evening then?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I think maybe mid-May is about the time frame that they were going to stop accepting entries for that, and then they'll make a decision to see if hers will be a part of that mural, so, and that collage. I'll keep you posted if I hear anything from Karen from the PAS. The second thing on our list was our Arbor Day celebration, Earth Day celebration that was hosted by the Anderson City Parks and Recreation. Weather held out. We didn't get any rain, but it was very windy. As you could see, we could not keep our boards up on top of the table. We had to put it over to the side. And of course, every time we tried to get a picture in there, the tablecloths were blowing. But there were, I think, 6 different vendors there. We had the Madison County Soil and Water Conservation District. We had the Health Department there with the blood drive vehicle. And then we also had the Anderson City Parks and Rec. The Anderson City Community Library was there. And then we also had the City of Anderson Yard and Gardening Recycling Center was there. They were handing out compost. And definitely check them out, keep them in mind. Right now, they say that it's limited to just the City of Anderson residents, but they said that they have plenty of mulch, compost, that they are not, at different times, they have a fee for a truckload, I believe, was it $20 a truckload?
Really?
Truckload,
Well,
yeah.
yes, it wasn't even when they
Wow.
do charge, but right now they have so much that they are putting a freeze on the charge. So
Is that new? I've never heard of
it's
this.
on 8th Street. I think they've been there for a while. The city, that's where they take all their limbs and leaves and all that throughout the year. And then residents can also drop that off as well.
What's it called again?
Then they'll just, it's the City of Anderson, it's the Yard and Gardening Recycling Center.
Okay.
And it's on 8th Street. They were very nice and they're very welcoming for anyone to come within the county to come and, enjoy their services. I thought that was a great idea.
I got a picture of their brochure.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to send that to me.
Yes, that'd be great.
There were, I would say, about 50 attendees within the 3-hour time span. So it was a great day. I know Carol was able to come and stay for a while. But the display that the community library did was really neat. She brought in how many, maybe 15 books or so on trees. For young, old, life.
She had a really neat little display there.
Yeah, she did. And I thought, to like have her come along. And then she had these little pens that I thought, and she made these. I guess there is a pen maker at the Anderson Library that you can use. And so she just sat there and she cut these out and This is something we should do.
Yeah.
It's very inexpensive and thought we could do that like maybe at the farmer's market or
Yeah.
one of our events. So I thought that was really neat. So. Yeah, I got her information. So then that way I can get some titles of books and so forth. So I took pictures of a couple of them, but yeah, it was neat. It was a good day. The next on the list, just real quick here for our Hayes Arboretum visit. Reminder that will be coming up here on the 19th of June. We will hold the meeting the day after on the 20th. So if we have any project program updates, I'll just share with you on the 19th for that day. Bring your own sack lunch, water, and so forth. I will drive. I just won't, if we all are attending, wouldn't be able to fit everyone. So I don't know if there's anyone that enjoys driving. I can check as far as compensation for mileage, on that.
I can drive if we need to. I
Right.
don't, you don't have to. Yes, that's.
Okay, well,
If we need to, we're all going,
okay,
I'd be happy to.
thank you. Okay. We'll do that then.
The
and,
back seat's not very big, but.
yeah.
19th of June.
Okay, well, Carrie, if you can take a
Yeah.
few with you and then I'll take a few and we'll just leave here that morning, meet here about 8:30. Okay. We've got the schedule, it's lined up there. And then we'll just meet with Mr. Stephen Hayes and learn about their program and just, if you don't have to jot down questions, but just kind of brainstorm some questions that you think that would be pertinent for us for as we plan for many arboretums. We're really getting into some discussions about having a community amphitheater and getting a steering committee and getting some input from the school program leads for that and what type of needs that we would need for that area. But I think it would be a perfect area to be able to have a mini arboretum there. It does fall within that disadvantaged area. So there might be some funding assistance that we may be able to tap into, but also part of trail and placemaking grants that we'll be looking to as time goes on here in the next couple of years. I think we'll be able to make that happen. So very, very excited about that. Any questions so far?
Sounds good.
And we'll be coming home right after that, right?
Yes, yes.
Because
yeah,
I have a
think-
dinner engagement that evening.
Okay, yep. I think on that one, I think we could probably be back here by 3. I mean, and if it's, rainy, if you want to, cut a little bit shorter or whatnot, or I've not been there, so I don't know really what to expect as far as getting a feel for getting coverage on the ground. And we could always eat quicker, than the timeline here and get going on a nice walk and take pictures or whatnot. So, yeah, we could just,
That's in Martinsville.
oh, sorry,
Richmond.
Richmond.
that one, yeah, that one's up here in Richmond for our Arboretum visit. And
Well, we
then,
can just make sure we're back.
yeah, we'll just make sure we're back by
Oh,
3
well,
or.
I mean, my other thing's not probably till 6.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Okay, yep. Yeah, and then for the trip there on the 4th, the only update really there, they had taken a survey as far as what topics that they would like to have incorporated. There was an opening time frame. They decided to incorporate it into the round table discussions, but the focus is advocating for urban forestry. Just to share with each other things that each of the communities are doing, ask questions and get some good input to take back to our communities. So I thought that was a good topic. They had talked about tree inventory, tree care and so forth, but I think it kind of fits our focus here this next year or two. So I thought that was perfect. So, and then if you would like afterwards, it'll be done at 4. We'll head on back and Dr. Lyle and Joe Scott, if you want to stop for dinner, we can, or, play it by ear, however you'd like. But I would say if we stop for dinner, we'll be back by 6:30. If we head on back and come on back, then probably here by 9:30. But I'll drive and just take our truck and get,
That's coming right up
be good.
too. isn't
I
it?
know, yes, yeah, they'll be here before I know it, so. Got a lot of fun things coming up in June, that's for sure. Updates on the inventory that the certified arborist Tanya Dotson is doing for us. She has been out on the field about 3-4 days here this spring so far. I met with her this morning. She has inventoried and updated about 80 trees in the inventory so far. And those are mainly some in the park that she had some areas that she was just wrapping up last fall, and then hitting like Water Street, Broadway, Central Way, kind of the areas around the library, kind of where she's at right now, working in, with the public street trees. She's noticed that some of the trees are in our inventory and some of them aren't. And so we are looking at trying to determine kind of the rhyme or reason, and it's the right of way. There is so much difference in our downtown areas. Our right of way, sometimes it's 6 feet off, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 12 or 30 feet. So some of it goes to the center of the road depending on the areas. So she is just going to work within what is existing in that database, because they had worked off the right of way zoning map. And so I shared with her the zoning map if she had any questions too. So things are going really well. She is also, as she's doing that, she's going to send me a list of any sidewalks that are uprooted or raised. So we kind of have another set of eyes that are keeping track of that. There's a couple of spots on State Street that she has sent to me, and she said there's one on John Street that she was going to. So that's great. She's also recommending some vinyl blend for those trees that we planted in 2021. So I'm going to talk to Scott about that. I don't know what type of budget we have for that, but for those young trees, she said they would probably be good to have a second round for that. And then she's noticing some trees probably could do some trimming that aren't in the, under the electric power lines or in the utility. So she said that she'll point those out and make comments, and we're gonna run reports on those comments, and maybe here in the fall time, we could look at getting some tree trimmings for the non-electric areas. So I think that is, yeah, about it there. And then she's gonna continue to, if she does come across any memorial trees, she's gonna update that. But one thing to add, we did get a login access for the park for Sherry, who's logging for her own. She was going through my login, which was completely fine, but if she wants to run reports on the ones that she's updated, she'll be able to do that with her own login. So we got that today, and so she's that she would let me know if any issues, but they're going to start some process of every time they plant a new memorial tree, they're going to enter it in themselves. And then if the second step would be going back and trying to capture then all of those others that are already for the state memorial tree program or within the memorial tree program, and get those added to the database as well. So, and I showed her where she can add a picture. So at some point, I don't know how soon, she might start with the new tree plantings, but getting a picture and having that added into that. And once that starts, we'd like to go ahead and get some education out on our town and our urban forestry Facebook page, so people know, to go there and to enjoy that. Okay, right here. So that brings us to really, our last, I'll go ahead and throw in some things here before we have our discussion in case I forget. But I also wanted to mention, if you are not connected to your town email yet, I can send information to you to your personal emails, but Stephanie Buck, who does all of our meeting invites and all of our agendas and whatnot, those things are going to be sending to personal emails here this next month. So come see me or come see Jacob Johnson. He could get your phone, he could get your town email on your phone really quick. So don't hesitate to reach out. So that way you're not missing those from her, because she's going to be getting the directive of when that's going to stop here real soon. So,
Or even on your laptop. I know.
yeah, bring your laptop,
Mike
sure.
brought his laptop in because he'd rather look at it on his laptop. So,
Yeah, any iPads or any, something.
Yeah, I'm doing my iPad and my phone.
Yeah, bring them both.
Yeah.
Yes, He is very, very good. That's just a little reminder on that. The other thing is, I spoke with Carol about this on Tuesday. I spoke with Scott earlier this week. He is completely 100% supportive of adding in for a 2025 budget, our own line item for our program. So that would be for more of our educational, promotional type activities. He said, we'll talk about, and so Carol pull her in on those conversations about what we'd be looking at each year. It might just be to start a couple thousand, but at least it gives us things that we have something to work with. But he does want to keep it in the electric department stream of revenue and within their budget, but it will be a separate line item. So then that way, we've got things that come up, then, we can kind of
You go
utilize
begging
that.
for money.
Yeah, we'll have like our own little working budget
Yeah.
for education, and I think it'll be perfect timing for the tree campus program, because we'll have some expenses that will come with that, so. Yeah. And then the only last thing other than this discussion here is farmer's market. I would like at least maybe a couple times this summer, if we had the booth. I know that they look for nonprofits, and I talked to Joe Scott about that. I think that, that they're still looking probably for fillers. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a great way for us to kind of give awareness of our program out there as well, and pass out color sheets and crowns. We did just get from White River Alliance a bunch of new bookmarkers and postcards and materials that we can pass out along with whatever we have. And then Carol came across these, and we had these at the Arbor Day event. And so these were very, very inexpensive, and they were great, just all about kind of Earth Day and trees and so forth. So I'm gonna look into getting more of them so we can hand those out as well.
Karen did say that if we want to pick a couple of dates, if we want to come twice, to maybe, she suggested a day in July and a
Okay.
day in August.
In August, okay. And, and if you can't do both, you want to do one, or if you want to pop in and say for an hour or 2 hours, that'd be great.
They're 8 to noon, aren't they?
No, they're 9 to 12:30. this
9 to
year.
9 to
12:30.
12:30, okay. And so maybe set up around 8, maybe, I'm just thinking here
Go look at your schedule. I don't have.
for July, maybe not the 6th of July, just because of a holiday
Right,
weekend, but the 13th, 20th, and 27th is in July. And then August, looks like I got 5 Saturdays in August, the 3rd through the 31st. Is there any first, second, third, fourth weekend of the month that seems to work better, or?
I don't have anything at all.
We'll be gone for about a week I think starting on July 24th.
Okay.
That's about it.
Do you want me to just reach out to Karen then and find out when she has some
If she's
open?
got,
she said just let her know, and if you, any dates, because she's got more than one spot.
Okay.
So she said if we just decide on a couple of dates, just then give her those dates and she'll
Okay.
put it in.
Okay.
what about your schedule, Denise? I mean,
Our vacation is the last week of June, so that works good for me. And even if we're weekend camping, I come in and we never go far. So yeah, so now that I'd say the 13th, 20th, and 27th of July worked for me.
13th would probably be better. But I can do the 20th. Got class reunion, but I think that's in the
That would be a good excuse not to go.
Not to go to the class.
It's
reunion.
Mike's class reunion, isn't it?
No, it's
Oh,
mine.
sure.
Oh, right, he's already not going.
Would, if we kept to just the second Saturday of each
Of
month,
each
the
month.
13th and then the 10th, and then that way kind of be
Yeah.
easy to remember, and then just, like I said, if you can't be there for both or the entire time or, and, I know schedules are busy too, so can't be there for either, that's fine too, but, yeah, I think that'll be,
I think I've got to work at the museum one of those Saturdays, but that would be, that, that would be over by the time it was ready to go to the museum.
Well,
So
It just.
just make a day of it.
come for a little bit before you go to the museum
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, I'll check with Karen and see about the 13th and then the 10th of August. Okay. And then I'll keep you posted then and then.
I think that's a good idea, just make your presence. There's so many people down there now that we could probably reach a lot of people that don't know anything at all about
Yeah.
our committee or anything, and what we do, and
Yeah, and I think the kids even, enjoy it and, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's yours. All right. Do that. Okay. So Carrie was a part of the conversation, when we had, spoke with Bryce Patz, there, the former city forester of West Lafayette. He actually graduated in 2015 from, Cornell University. And it was in urban horticulture was his background. And so he started out as an intern, that's what I picked up there, with West Lafayette, and then was kind of in the planning department and then evolved into the city forester role. And then he was the lead, on developing the K through 12, tree campus program through the West Lafayette High School. So Lafayette is huge, and so you've got the Lafayette area, and then you got the West Lafayette area. The West Lafayette has the high school program established, and then Lafayette, there are 2 to 3 elementaries that have free campus programs there. But he wasn't a part of that, but he developed then the ones for the West Lafayette High School. And the first year he said was in 2021, and then the second year was in 2022. They still exist today, but then he ended up getting offered a position at the city of Indianapolis through the AmeriForge program, and he does a lot of placemaking and beautification type projects there. Very nice guy. He said he loved urban forestry, and he said that his current role doesn't deal with a lot of trees or urban forestry. So he said that we're more than welcome to reach out, to him again, have him any conversations, any questions that we have and follow up. So he just seemed very open to help us along. And so just kind of in the gist here, and Carrie, if there's any other things out there I missed, speak up, or if you want to, chime in with what he shared with us that day. But he said that he just happened to have they started developing a relationship or getting to know one of the science teachers there. And she was an environmental science teacher for the high school, and just kind of talked about, what programs he was offering and what he was doing for the city, and then kind of shared and found out that her curriculum seemed to be already in line with talking about tree physics, biology, environmental science, earth science. And so he talked about and introduced her to the idea about this tree campus and whether she'd be interested in developing that. So she was like, absolutely. And so going through her, then the two of them then went to the school principal and presented the idea. And since the curriculum really was already there, they just had to do a couple of lesson plan examples that he worked with that was focused in on the tree part of it. And then got leadership of the school to approve it. And they just kept it very simple. They said that they tried not to really overcomplicate things. They didn't change that much as far as curriculum wise. And then he just kind of assisted them in taking an Earth Day program, hands-on experience that they already were doing at the school through her course, and then just kind of built upon that and then turned it into a Arbor Day celebration as well, which that is one of the other components to be eligible for the recognition of that program. And then what they did the first year was that they inventoried all the trees on their campus. So they had name tree tags, and I think they put in like the tree name and then the benefits of each of those trees. And so that was kind of their hands-on experience for the first year. And then they didn't have a tree keeper program. I don't know if they do at this point now, but they just created an inventory of each of those trees. And then they created kind of a work plan of how to maintain those and care for those trees over time. And then the second year, then they added in some new tree plantings and then updated that inventory. Is that kind of how you understood it,
Mhm.
Carrie?
Yes.
Kind of. And then of course, then after that second year, they were able to get recognition from Arbor Day Foundation those first 2 years, and then, he's moved on since. But he had indicated, and what I understood is that if for each school campus, you have to submit an inventory of all the trees on the campus and then a work plan. I don't know if Arbor Day Foundation has changed that or not, but in looking at their materials, the higher education, so for the college campuses, require that, but the high school and K through 12 doesn't seem to require that, but is an example of what you can do to provide that hands-on experience. So I've got an email out to a couple of the reps from Arbor Day Foundation. So Shannon's got me in touch with Dana Baird. And so I've asked if they can kind of confirm that, because, that might be, I mean, we could definitely help out in that piece, but I just want to make sure that we're presenting it correctly. When we do have those conversations.
Do you know, and it can be just real generalized, what their work plan consists of? I mean, does it, besides planting trees and maintaining trees, does it like getting rid of bad tree, or I think it'd just be interesting to know what their work plan is exactly, what all they do.
How detailed that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of, understood it to be that it is, each tree, kind of what the condition is and what the needs are. So if it would need to be in, say in a year to get it pruned, trimmed, I don't know if they've gone in as far as any type of chemical, enhancements or anything to revitalize a tree or not, but then also too, that if it does need to get removed, then kind of similar to our tree keeper program and kind of our maintenance plan is kind of what I understood it to be. He didn't indicate that it seemed to be very complicated. They kind of just maybe like a little spreadsheet is kind of what they would just keep track of each tree and just any maintenance needs that those trees might require in the future.
Yeah. And how many trees did you say was on that?
Our tree keeper currently?
No, theirs.
I don't think he said, he didn't mention how many trees were on their campuses. I know for the most part, most of our schools, they have, trees here and there, but it doesn't seem like it's very, dense
Yeah.
tree coverage, except for the middle school. I think the middle school has a wooded area that I wouldn't think that if we get to that point where we work with the middle school, I don't think we'd have to identify all of the trees in that wooded area, but at least the main campus area.
Yeah.
Would be doable.
Oh, yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun,
Yeah.
really did.
And I think it would be cool to have somebody from DNR Urban Forestry do a program for their classroom
Yeah.
that might open the door to a student thinking about, hey, this could be something I could really turn into my career.
That's,
Yeah.
he mentioned that
That's
a
what
couple
he
times,
was saying.
actually, yeah. And he said that's a huge part of it.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons that they focus sometimes a little bit more on the higher end of the rather than, I mean, not just, they don't ignore the grade school, but how
Right.
important it is to do this in the high school as well.
In the middle
because
schools,
It gives them,
when
they're
they're
like, oh, this could be,
practicing,
yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah. And I guess the other thing he did mention was that it really does need to be driven at school level by a person in the school, like a teacher or or somebody like that,
Yes. yes.
not like us doing it.
Yeah.
Like it has to actually be.
Yes, yes, he did say
Give
the
them that.
application has to be submitted by the school. It is, and actually, when I went on to our login to Arbor Day Foundation to be able, because they sent a link of like, apply if, if you've had this in this past year. So I thought, well, I'll see if I can access the application. That application is not even accessible on our portal. It's just for our Tree City USA, our tree line program, and then there was a city recognition that you can go for. And those are the only 3 areas besides the Tree City USA that you could switch it to apply for, and it never even listed the tree stand. So I asked that in my email, just if they could confirm that that is the reason why, is because it has to be driven, like Carrie said, from the school, the principal has to sign off on the application as well. So I assume they would be the one that would have to make the pledge as well, to give them a heads up that, yes, we intend that we want to pursue this and create the education plan, the program goals, the hands-on experience, and then also the Arbor Day celebration. And he did say as well, he said that Arbor Day Foundation didn't seem that they were specific as to what all requirements that you had to have. Did not have a budget component that you had to commit, kind of like our Tree City USA, that $2 per capita. There's not a minimum or any type of budget investment requirement as part of the program. He said it seemed to be very flexible. He felt like, so we brought up the concern that, okay, we go through all the motions and all the steps, and then we get to the end of the year and we find that we just didn't do enough, that would be devastating. And he just felt like that, that it was not, as long as you're showing that you're making good effort, you're showing where you're introducing it in your curriculum throughout the year. You're doing at least then that minimum 1 hour hands-on experience, which I think, we could probably do a couple of those, in a year, and then do an Arbor Day celebration in the springtime. I think we'd be okay with our program. And he suggested, just like Carrie said, go grassroots. He said, get in contact with a teacher that is in the school system, get them, on board with it, instead of going to school board or,
Right.
get through administration and then trying to present something big that
Try to
seems
push it
like it's a
down.
big
Yeah.
undertaking versus just something that's simple and streamlined that can just go naturally with what is already.
And if we can tell them that, well, if there's anything we can help with, that they, they need to champion it, but we'd be happy to help if there was anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that they know they're not just out there on their own.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, he said that he kind of served as just kind of the advisory
Advisory,
role and
yeah.
for the education on the tree. So when it got more into detail as far as trees related, he provided information and resources for that. And then he was a big part of the hands-on experience, kind of leading that. And that's kind of what it said down there at the end, that he just said, we are a Tree City USA community. We'd love to help you become a tree king. Program, and we can help out with the actual hands-on and the education piece as far as tree plantings or inventory, and so just keep it simple.
And I can see us playing a big part as being their cheerleaders, so that we're
Yeah.
always promoting it, drawing attention to it, doing things to encourage them, whether we, supply different things for them,
Yeah.
just,
What can we do to help?
a
Yeah.
t-shirt
Yeah.
that says they're part of it, or, just something
Yeah.
like that, that people get used to hearing it talked about and know what it is.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely, I think that getting in, I looked at their website a couple days ago, and there's about 8 teachers that teach science in the high school. And there's about 4 or 5 for the middle school. I do know that one, Melanie McCarty, which is Ken McCarty's wife, she teaches earth science, but I don't know, it just says science teacher, so it doesn't really break it down. But it, sounds like that we'll have probably biology, and there's probably earth science as well.
They have, Maddie's, in her favorite class this year is environmental science.
Oh, so they do have an environmental.
Yes, and they're
science.
very hands-on. A week or so
Isn't
ago.
Miss Anderson, is a name?
I don't know who the
That was
teacher
like
is.
Sadie's favorite teacher.
Oh, she
Loved
loved it, but
him.
Maddie wants
He's
to
great,
be
yeah.
wants to be
What's his name?
environmental
The last name's
engineer.
Anderson? Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they did a field trip where they came, the bus brought them to the corner, Charlene's Corner. And they went and took samples from the pond, from the creek. And then they had observations of things in the park, and then they took all that back to class and they were gonna test the water and all that. Today they had a field trip and they went kayaking.
Oh, yeah, that's him. That's him.
That's him?
Yeah, that's him. And Sadie's like, yeah, how fun is that? But,
So
Anderson, I believe is his name. Sadie, I can get the
Yeah.
info. She was gonna, actually, she talked about getting back.
Well, I'll have to look at, there's a Johnson, but not.
Oh, maybe it's Johnson. I'm sorry.
Doug
Maybe it is
Johnson?
Johnson. I'm sorry. It probably is. I'll text Sadie right now.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I would like, so yeah, just kind of, a recap here. I don't want to go through this, but mainly do the pledge, and then we create our team, and then we go into our program goals, which is more the education and our curriculum that we can, put in there into, the application then next year, and then just our hands-on, activities that we have, and then our Arbor Day observation is really the main things that we would just need to get covered. So
we'd be doing this to reach out to people at the school in the fall.
So that's where I want to ask.
Cause there's
you
only
all
one
for
week
your
of school
input.
left.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one thing I think we need to decide is where do we want to start? Do we want to start with just the high school? Do we want to, get something established? And Carol and I had a conversation about that. Carol, if you want to kind of give your thoughts on that, I thought you had great points on that.
Well, I think it makes, I initially thought that we would start like at the younger and then work our way up, but I like the idea of doing at the high school level. I think the hands-on it's gonna be more
Right.
more appropriate maybe.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see them just identify the trees at the school, letting us help them identify and put in tree keeper. And especially if it seems like there's a class that already naturally falls into, we're not asking them to do anything special or out of the ordinary or whatever. It's like, we can just let that fit into and I say we just do high school only, don't try to
start.
don't try to do two schools the first year.
Yeah,
Just like
we see
right.
how that
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't go
we
to
want to
middle
back
school.
up.
Yeah, it's
That
Doug
makes
Johnson.
sense.
It is Johnson.
Is
It's
that
Doug Johnson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and even it would be so cool if the high school kids could like almost be the go to the younger kids and teach them
Yeah.
some stuff or whatever eventually down the
Yeah,
line or
And
whatever.
that could be the hands-on experience
Mhm.
maybe,
Mhm.
even
Right.
helping when we
Mhm.
plant the tree or something like that, but I think we could easily get the first
Mhm.
year kind of taken care of. And you're saying really the curriculum part doesn't have to be very complicated
Yeah,
either.
it didn't seem to be, like it wasn't, the frequency wasn't, high. It was just, where naturally what they just taught, that they were able to turn in a couple of lesson examples, and then they just gave a list of the topics. And
Mhm.
it seemed to fall right in line and.
I mean, even just a lesson on all the layers of
Mhm.
tree.
Yeah, tree bark, every,
All
yeah.
the xylem and phloem. and
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
right.
I don't remember.
That
Our,
was-
our very intensive.
That's
Class.
Cambium, I remember the
Oh,
names, I don't
gosh.
remember what they are.
Right, or where they are.
I'm
They're
impressed.
on the inside- they're on the inside somewhere.
But you could have just a,
Yeah.
you could just have a one day or couple
Mhm.
day class on that, and that would probably be enough.
Yeah, yeah. And whether we went to them if we need to, we can do
Yeah.
that, or even a trip to the park, you know, we're gonna,
Mhm.
yeah,
Right.
too, that we could
Yeah.
do something fun there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, as far as timing, are you okay with me going ahead and making contact with a couple of the teachers there at the high school, see if that's
Yeah.
something that they feel like that they can kind of, you know, get on board and think it would be something that would be doable to then we'll start meeting in August and kind of put that together. We could still pledge in the fall. It's not too late. I don't know if they would have time to be able to process and put everything together. I think on my end, I could put together as far as the program goals and the educational piece and all those components to make it easier for them. But as far as kind of taking lead and being ready, maybe August, revisiting.
And school
and meeting
starts
with them.
when,
I
August
think the
what?
second week of August.
Yeah.
No,
Early
it's
summer,
early
yeah.
summer, yeah. Cause really, if we're gonna identify trees, fall would probably be a better time in spring. Because it's kind of.
Right.
Till the leaves come out, it's hard to identify.
Yeah.
If that would.
And I think, yeah. And I think really just as far as the pledge and getting your team together is more, for the fall. And
Yeah.
then during the fall and the winter time, that's when all the curriculum pieces take place and planning for then your spring hands-on experience. So,
Well, yeah. But then you don't have to, like, when you make the pledge, do you have to like turn in like the actual curriculum at that point, or do you just say you're gonna have?
yeah, from what I understand, all the planning and so forth is just at the fall, but it's not at the time of pledge. The pledge just looked like a very
Just
simple
saying,
contact
Yeah.
information
Okay.
that you are
Okay.
vested in this
Yeah.
and that kind of puts them on, you know, us on their radar. And so I don't think that seemed to be too involved. We'll probably want to have contacts of who's going to be on that team, which I
Yeah.
assume that'd be our committee, and then maybe the principal and a few teachers there. Yeah.
that-
Yeah, to get a teacher in place and the principal on board will be two big things.
Yeah. But I think the main thing is getting a teacher. Because it sounds like this guy already does
Yeah.
field trips and stuff anyway, so it probably isn't gonna be, if he's on board, then I guess the principal will.
I would think so.
Yeah.
And they don't really have to think about funding of anything,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so.
Maybe if they do already have a canoe trip or an activity, we could just piggyback on that and, you know, we can introduce something, teach something. I think it would be, yeah, very doable. So we all comfortable with
Yeah.
moving forward with it and then planning with the intentions to then apply for spring of 2025.
Yeah.
So it'll be over the first year. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Let's do
okay.
it.
Yay, okay. We will do that and then, and if
There's
we
only a week left of school.
Yep, next Thursday's their
Let's
last
do
That
day.
even, oh, I guess Thursday is, yeah.
Wow,
I know, it's very.
this year's gone way too.
Wow.
And then as far as, interest out, if we don't have to have the work plan, cause that's kind of asked if that's something that we could build on and, you know, continue to, develop. But maybe it's a goal, presenting with the idea of having the trees inventoried at least for next year. And part of that.
And
we
unless,
could-
maybe he has another idea.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
might have a
yeah,
really good idea,
yeah.
true.
Mhm.
But I think that would,
Yeah.
Remember how when we were kids, we all had to do leaf collections?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think that's a no-no now. I don't think they do anything like that
I
now.
wondered, I didn't know if sixth grade did that.
I don't think they do it anymore.
Okay.
Just because there's so many kids that would be going around taking the leaves off the trees,
Yes,
but I don't know.
probably is,
I
yeah.
heard that somewhere.
But we definitely still want to do this next year. We'll do our Arbor Day observation in the fall with our elementary, fourth grade students. We'll do that poster contest.
They'll have the poster contest
spring for
again.
the fifth grade,
Yeah.
you know, and then give us a good year and then see how it goes. And if we
Yeah.
want to open it up to, say, sixth grade class participation, a middle school, something like that. Yeah, the next year's. Okay. And yeah, and I love the whole idea as far as the career opportunity and
Yeah.
indicating that there is a whole field out there that, I mean, and even just in the short while that I've been dealing, you know, with the urban forestry, just there's so many different roles, naturalists, horticulturalists, you know, arborists. I mean, there's
Arborists,
so
yeah.
many different
Yeah.
ways that.
Yeah.
you
People
can get
that work
involved.
on actually working on the trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be neat if someone from the DNR could come and have that field day,
Mhm.
you know, just to,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to have one of them.
Yeah, they're excited that we're, gonna be, you know, getting this developed this next year.
Yeah.
Because they're really wanting that to become more, utilized program across the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see when we go to the forum, if there are other communities that are
Mhm.
looking
Thinking
into
about
this as
it.
well, kind of what ideas they have and, yeah. how we fit.
And I can just see younger kids, even if they're not included in this whole thing, if teachers just kind of get to aware of what's out there,
Yeah.
like little kids having this little assignment to inventory the trees at their house.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
have somebody
would that
help
be-
them find out what kind of trees they
Mhm.
are, you know,
Yeah.
just the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
for 'em.
Yeah.
And then they could go back to school and they can all
Mhm.
make their little presentations. you
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
I think that's, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
They get all excited about it. I think they'd wanna continue, I would think.
And just that love and care that you have just for your environment and
Yeah.
ecosystem, all that.
When you hear the kids all talk about all the benefits,
Yeah.
play that game, you know, helps the wildlife, helps
Right.
the stormwater and on and on and on. Gives you shade and checks your weather,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. We had, the Maple Ridge first graders come through for a tour this past week on Tuesday. And even some of the answers, I had put out drew a picture of kind of a downtown area and then a home and showed like, you know, where you have the water that comes out of your faucet, you know, the things that we do for planning that we've got, take in consideration and, you know, want to make sure that we encourage green space and the reasons for that and just how the whole environmental, you know, system works with the rain and it coming and how the trees play a part of that and help, you know, enrich the soil and improve the aquifers down below. You know, we went into that, you know, and there was these kids that were making these comments that it was just unbelievable, you know, little first graders that, they're smarter than I remember when I was in first grade. But it is so neat that they really, they gravitate towards all of
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
they just really, you know, appreciate, our world and like you want to foster that.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But all right, well, then, thank you, Carrie. I will get a hold of Doug Johnson. I'll
Yeah.
kind of let him be kind of my lead contact then on that and let him involve others that he feels that would be appropriate. So I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, we'll see, you know, kind of what we can get established here at the end of the year, at least maybe get a verbal commitment that we'll touch base then, and that'll give me a couple months to put some more materials together. There's a flyer that I found on Arbor Day Foundation, just a little bit about K through 12, so I wanted to kind of share that, and I'll give him some, there's a little video that they have, so just kind of see where it goes, but I have a good feeling that it'll be well received.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyone have anything else?
Anyone else have any
questions,
comments? or-
It just turns off, it turns off itself.
Yeah, it
Okay.
does.
All right, well, if none, I will adjourn the meeting.